Hey everyone, this is Brimster, and now I'm going to try session 8 of my campaign with Romina and Vint. So there's been a few things that have caused me to not record in a while, and I'm really sorry about that. The first one is the Wizards of the Coast open gaming license debacle. I've been following that, and it's kind of been very, very disheartening for me doing more D&D. I'm not going to go into the details about that. There's a lot of stuff on the internet about it. I'm sure most of you know. I am going to keep playing this campaign. I really love D&D and I hope to keep loving D&D moving forward. But I've got some thoughts not relevant to this. I will cover those later. So, this game. So, going back to my journal, starting session 8, there's a couple of things I do want to bring up. First of all, I've made a section in the compendium called Mysteries. So, in the mystery section, what I'm putting down is, is there something that might come up later? So, for example, what is hidden near the Meveldi farm that caused the creation of the holy symbol to trigger the necromantic side effects that summoned all the beasts and caused all the undead to be created? I don't know. Now, I haven't done this in about a month, so I'm way out of touch and all of my practice is gone and all of my knowledge of the books is gone. So this is likely to be a slow session, but we'll see how it all goes. But what was the effect that did that? I've no idea. I'm not even going to look that up right now. So at some point later on, when it becomes relevant, I will try and use the mystery section to go, well, what do I want to explore? What do I want to come back? The point of this is I don't want to just keep growing the world over and over and over and just keep adding new random stuff. I want to keep a note of anything that I think might be incredibly relevant, and then come back and use those as triggers for things to come back to. So if I'm, come back in sort of, 6 or 7 sessions or maybe longer and turn around and say, what's something that's unresolved? I can use the mysteries section as a place to say, okay, let's try and focus the story towards one of these unresolved things. Not everything has to be unresolved. Some things may never come back. I don't know, but I just wanted to flag that. So that's the first one. I've updated the character sheets. So if I go to the characters, what I've done is I've tried to make these characters using, in Google Docs, you can do drop downs. So I can turn around and say, well, I used my inspiration on Romina. So it's rechargeable, but it's rechargeable in a special way. Inspiration comes back at certain times. Now, often inspiration in D&D will come back. Now, inspiration is the thing that allows you to take advantage on a roll before you make it. Some people will give it back at the start of a session. Some people will give it back at the start of an adventure. Romina just used hers, so I don't think it's available yet. But yeah, that is something. Now, I have not given the healing surge to Vint yet, so I am going to put a healing surge in for Vint. So what I'm going to do is I am going to paste that in, and now the drop down is that Vint has a healing surge available as well. And these drop downs, I can turn around and say if he was to use it, I could change it to recharge at any rest, and that would mean that I could quickly see what is available and what's not. And similarly, Vint has used one of his first level spell slots, so I could change to how many spells are left. And I think this is going to be a useful thing for me to keep track of rather than doing it in the other way that I was. And it'll be more visible when I change to this. So that's the other thing I've done. I've updated the character sheet to be a little bit more readable for people who are watching the stream. And the other thing I did is someone pointed out that after 7 sessions on the main map, I had Vint's farm here when it was actually Romina's farm. They pointed out, I think it was like in video 1 that I'd put this as wrong, and I'd just maintained it. So I've updated the map. So where were we? I had planned to come straight back, and it's been like a month since I recorded nearly, and I had planned to come straight back and almost do another session. I think it was almost the same day or the next day, and I just didn't do that. So Romina and Vint were in the farm, and they just defeated the shadow. So they defeated some skeletons up here, and they just defeated the shadow, which had disappeared into mist. They missed the shadow. They misted the shadow. And they did... Romina almost fell into this sort of open trapdoor. Now, these were tables and stuff, which then led to a basement below. Now, I did. I keep saying this. I've done some more discussion with some other D&D players who've done stuff like this in the past, and they've said that I should try and develop a more of an overarching story, and have that come through. And I haven't done that yet, but I am going to try and sort of structure this a little bit better, and I'm going to see how this goes. The other thing is we'll see how. Yeah, we'll see. You're going to explore this with me. I do also want to call out that some people have said that they're really enjoying the journey. A lot of people said they found it a bit slow. I think my recommendation from watching a couple of the videos myself is to watch at 1.5 speed, if you can follow what I'm saying, because that will help get you through the gaps. But and YouTube is very, very good at that. Anyway, so they've defeated the shadow, which has disappeared. And what I was going to do is I was going to roll for treasure. Now, the shadow, I didn't note what difficulty the shadow was. So let's look up shadow. And yes, I'm going back to my actual books. So shadow, I think it's this bookmark. Yep, that's shadow. So it's a challenge rating 1/2. Now, I had kind of decided that this was going to be a this shadow was going to be one of the people who had I think I'd said it was the acolyte of the person who was coming to make the holy symbol, which they've collected. And therefore, I wanted this to be some form of very powerful, like a treasure hoard. So I'm actually going to do this as a treasure hoard. They're actually going to get a lot of treasure from this. So the shadow actually has a treasure hoard because it was a bit of a boss monster. Story reason is that it had brought wealth in case it was needed for the creation of the symbol. Okay, so what's in the hoard? So, treasure hoard. Treasure hoard, and this is CR 1/2. Now, so pulling out my dice again. So there is a 50% chance of there being a lot of copper pieces. So let's do that. So there is a lot of copper pieces, and there are 600 copper pieces. So that's quite a lot. Are there silver pieces? I'm happy to do this. So 1/2 again. Oh, hang on. I rolled that. Oh, no, that was right. Are there silver pieces? There are not silver pieces. Are there electrum pieces? There are electrum pieces. And there could be quite a lot. This is actually quite a lot of money for them. Wow, that's huge. 900 electrum pieces. That's a huge amount of money. Are there gold pieces? This is a ridiculous amount of money. But again, they're starting off. They're allowed to. No gold pieces. Are there platinum pieces? There is platinum. So there's platinum here that had been brought just in case it was needed. But the symbol did get made. So how much platinum is left? There is 26 platinum pieces. That's a lot of gold. This is a lot of money for a low-level encounter, but I'm using the table. Are there gems? There are no gems, and it's not included on this particular table, but I was going to give it a chance of there being a single very low-level magic item, and there's not. By that, it was either going to be like a potion or a scroll, but there's not. So the party loot now has this added to it. So that goes into here. So, so I'm going to keep these separate. I can make it 908 electrum pieces. I can make it 627 copper pieces, and I can make it 26 platinum pieces, 14 silver, and 627 copper. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm not going to... 26 is platinum pieces. I'm not going to worry too much about weight of coin. Again, going back to the video game element. When you collect money in video games, it rarely weighs you down. I am going to cause them to sort of trade it up when they can, and stuff like that. But I'm not going to worry too much about the weight of coin. We'll see how it all goes. I'm not going to go too silly, I hope, but we'll see. Um, yeah. I the whole point is for it to be fun, and I'm going to note here, added to party wealth. Okay, so this stuff was found, possibly. No, this stuff was found, and where was it found? So it would have been found probably in this area where the shadow was sort of protecting the materials. I say. So let's say it was in here. So the treasure was found in the main. Actually, yeah, the treasure was found in the room where the shadow was. And I'm just going to let them find it, because I'm not in the flow of it, and let's reward the characters. So, do they investigate the trapdoor? And if I'm doing this badly, sorry, I'm out of practice. I was hoping to do this more. So they want to investigate the trapdoor. Now, one of the concepts that I wanted to bring up, and this is something that um, uh, is a few people will disagree with, but I've always been in, and this is something I've always done with my D&D games. D&D should be a storytelling thing, and the rules should always bend to the story. So as long as you are not breaking the spirit of the rules, I'm always something to do. Will always play that way. So, for example, if you look at the spell Produce Flame, you produce a flame in your hand, and it will either stay in your hand and provide light without burning you, or you can use it to hurl at someone. I want Vint to be able to do sort of an evocative feel, and I'd been thinking about the way I wanted the characters to act and behave, and I think when Vint create produces flame when he's not intending to immediately throw it, he produces the flame at the end of his staff, and that's how he does it for light. So they're in this dark room now. It was enough to fight in, but they want to get more light. So what he does is he uses the cantrip, and he waves his hand over the end of his staff, which bursts into flame and almost becomes a torch. And that's how he's going to use the produce flame spell. So the light is at the end of his staff. Now, I'm not going to give people say, but that's not how the spell works. True, it's not, but that's how it's going to work for me. And it's not going to give him any extra benefit. I'm not going to let him hit anyone with the staff and do fire damage or anything like that. It's just an evocative look that I want to give. And, other stuff will happen that may not be true to the spirit of the spell, but it's the story I want to tell, and it should all be about story. So anyway, so let's have a look. How long does Produce Flame last? Produce Flame lasts for 10 minutes. So he does that, and sort of for the next 10 minutes, the end of his staff will burst into flame. I think he can only do one at a time, but I could be wrong about that. Or if you cast it again. So if he was to cast it again to hurl it, the one on the end of his staff would go away. So that's fine. Okay, so he's now got the light on the end of his staff. Now, I think what they do is they walk up to the pit trap, or what was a pit trap, but the open pit down below, and they look down and see what's down there. So I am massively out of practice. Now, this was something that this I had already stated a couple of sessions ago that this pit trap was something that if they fell into, they would land on something. I'm not sure if I remember if I'd stated what that was, but it's a D&D game. People can change their mind. So it was probably something like barrels and some working equipment and stuff like that. So it wasn't like spikes pointing up, but it would have been enough to hurt them. Is there anything else down there? I think let's just make it a natural roll. Is there anything else down there that would be a problem? Yes, there is. Okay. So let's just do some rolls because I haven't done it for a while. So, and what's going to happen is Vint is going to walk up to the pit, and he's going to sort of hold his staff over the end. He could do it with his hand, so it's not a problem. So from now on in, I'm going to mention it again, but he basically holds his staff down so the light on his staff illuminates the area below. And do they see anything unusual? They do. So, what I'm going to do is, so, the Rose and they collect. So the treasure was found. I don't really care. I don't think it's an interesting element. Like, it's the loot on the corpse of the body. Possibly it was in a chest or in some bags that he'd been carrying. Maybe they find the corpse that looks like the shadow did, and then it was on the body of the corpse. Yeah, that's a good idea. So the treasure is in the bags, carried by the corpse that looks like the shadow. Is there anything weird about the corpse, actually? I'm going to come back to the pit trap. There is. Has it got something to do with the bugs or something like that? Yes, and. Has it been like, is it like crawling with bugs and stuff? Yes, and. Is it the source of the bugs? No. Is it just like got bugs and stuff creeping out of it? And so, yeah, I'm just going to say the corpse is well covered with the bugs that seem to be infesting it more than anything else. So the bugs have like really attached themselves to this corpse. But they go and they look down the trapdoor. Is it to do with the bugs down there as well? Yes. So when they look down, is it like everything down there like just crawling with bugs? Yes. Okay. So when they look down the pit trap, everything is crawling with bugs. Is this the source of the bugs? Like, have all the bugs come from down there? It's kind of even. Like it was a 10. I'm not sure what 10 is supposed to mean again. So what I want is 10 is possible. Oh no, 10 is maybe. So re-roll. Okay. Yes. Okay. Everything is crawling with bugs. In fact, the bugs have come from the basement. So when they put the flame down and everything, the bugs all move away from it, but everything down there is just crawling with bugs. I don't think they want to go down there. Like, is any of them interested in going down there? I think it's highly unlikely. I'm just going to make a roll. Like, do any of them go, I want to go down there? I don't think they do. No and no. So they leave the basement alone. So they look down. So he puts his thing down and they look down, and glad they didn't fall down there, although I possibly wouldn't have gone into this in the middle of a combat if they'd fallen down. But everything is just crawling with bugs, and like the floor is just covered with these crawling bugs, like possibly deep in bugs, which are then flying out. So this is possibly where they're flying out, though they're possibly starting to dissipate and die, not fly away, but depends on what's caused. So with the death of the shadow, who knows? But they leave the barn. I think they leave the barn at this point. Now, do they do anything else here? They'd investigated the house and they'd found one corpse there. They'd found the skeletons and they dealt with the skeletons. They've got the symbol and they've got more of the coin that had been brought. So there was copper, electrum, and platinum that had been brought to potentially melt down and make the symbol. And maybe spare had been brought, like maybe all of the gold was used. Yeah, they leave the barn at this point. Okay, so they leave the barn. So I'm done with this map and I can go back to, I think it was this one. So they leave the barn. Is there anything else they want to investigate? Do they want to investigate the vines? Yeah, let's go investigate the vines. So they've done this, they've done this. Did they leave through one of these two doors is actually an interesting question. Yeah, they're going to investigate the vines. What they might do, is they might go towards this door. Now, the shadow is dead. That's just me moving it out of the way, and try and go out this door. So is there anything weird about that door or anything? Yes, there is. So is the door like jammed or locked? No. Is it trapped? Yes. So there's some, like, I'm not saying like it's a natural trap, but something has happened to the door so that opening it without noticing anything is going to lose some problems. So I'm thinking that like Vint is like interested in it. So Romina is the one who's going to try and open the door. So she goes up. Now, let's have a look at. So what are the chances? There, I'm out of practice and I'm fully aware of this. What are the chances that something goes wrong here? So, um, I will get back into practice with it. I absolutely promise. Eventually, maybe somehow. Um, do do do. I don't think I want to do any of this yet. I don't want to go into the adventure design stuff. I want to keep this simple. Um, let's make a note here. They try to go out the eastern door. Um, and but so is there something like it's been closed in such a weird way and the bugs have spoiled it, something that like something is going to fall on them or anything? I think that's most likely. Yeah. So, but something has happened to the door, and if they just open it, then some crates or something, yeah, some unsteady crates and supplies will fall on them. So there was supposed to be a way of checking DC and stuff, and I'm trying to remember how to do that. There was a trap generation, I thought. Skill challenges. Nope, that's not it. I mean, it's kind of what I'm trying to do. No, I'm just going to go to the keywords table, maybe. Now, I just want to know how difficult it is. So, is this hard to spot? Now, remember, they haven't made their rolls against it. The shadow's been dispelled. There is some light here, though Vint is behind. I'm just going to call this a moderately easy to spot. There is I can't even remember the difficulty challenges. That's how out of it I am. So difficulty in spotting, just the standard difficulty ratings of challenges. So something's I don't think this is very easy. This is an easy difficulty to spot. So I'm going to call it a DC 10. So chance to spot the issue is DC 10. So she needs to roll a 10 on a perception in order to not see that this is going to fall. Romina's perception is +3. So Romina has to roll a 7 or better in order to spot it. Romina rolls a 7. So Romina is like starting to move the door, like because she rolled exactly. Romina is starting to move the door when she notices if she does, then something is likely to fall onto where she is standing. So she stops opening the door, and I'm going to say it's moderately hard to figure out how to do something about it. There's another exit. And she can't see what to do about it. So she can't see what to do about it. So they just decide to go out another door. But this could have been bad for her if she decided to go the other way. So they end up going out the other door. No big deal, but there was a chance that something bad could have happened. And I'm going to say the other door is fine. I mean, they go out the way they came, might be the way to do it. So they come out through this door up here, and then they go north, which takes them sort of out this way, and then they're coming this way to explore the vines. Now, is there any that there were all the bugs and stuff? Is there anything interesting in the vines? That's even, so I'm going to roll again. No, there's nothing interesting in the vines. So um, they spend a bit of time exploring and wandering around the vines, but do not find anything. I think at this point they're ready to leave. So they've got the symbol and they're not sure what it is. Now, I can't remember if Vint made a check about the symbol. Now, I'd also done some thinking about the symbol. So let's talk about the symbol. The symbol. Now, the way I'd thought is a lot of D&D worlds will have named gods and everything. Now, I didn't want to do that for this. Now, I did say that this was going to be for a cleric or something. Make a symbol for a religion that used to follow but outlawed by the dwarves. What I'm thinking is to keep this symbol simple. I'm going symbol. Keep this simple. I wanted all of the gods to be named like after sort of what they represent. So you might have rather than coming up with a complex and weird name, you might have the Lady of the Moon, or you might have the Wolf of the Lands or something. I don't know, but I wanted to come do something like that. So what I was going to do is I was going to use the keyword table to see if I can come up with something interesting for what the god might be. Gods here are named after what they represent, not by a name. So I just thought that would be simpler. So let's make some rolls and see what I can come up with. So I need a D4 and no, I need a D8. For that, I assume by now everyone knows what dice I'm talking about. So that's 522. So keywords 522. The keywords, which as I said, I can delete. So enter is not a great keyword for this. 587. Message. And 366. This is not doing me very well, is it? Friend. Enter message friend. It feels like I'm entering the doors of Moria. One. Dimension. This is not helping me. I possibly needed an item list, didn't I, or something? I wonder if there's a way of generating a random... Because I did want this to be random. This is... I know that this is always the most boring thing to look at or to watch. I wish the first book in this series you could jump with the index. This is not working for me. But this is what happens when you try and do this. Oh, I've got an idea. There is... a there is a table in the Tome of Adventure Design, I think, which is about people or weird names or something. There's a D1000 thing here that I'm going to try. 400. Oh, this is a long list because it's 1,000. So there's a guardian as well. So let's look at guardian. So guardian is a good word. So that's a good one to use because it's a list of patrons, and then I possibly want some sort of item list. Is there an item list? Not that. Thought there was an item list in one of these books. I kind of want something that is... Oh, hang on. I vaguely remember there was something... Oh, I can't remember where it was. There was a table that was... about naming things, and it had some really nice, beautiful words that you could use. And I'm trying to find where it was. It's always hard to navigate these really long books when the index doesn't work. There's something like this. So if I use a D100 here, or... So ancient is a word that's come up. And let's... So what's come up is basically Ancient Guardian of the Magic Dimension, if I put it together. That's a terrible name. But let's just call it that for now. Symbol is to the Ancient Guardian of the Magic Dimension. So maybe it's a god of magic or a god of protection. And they can't use it, but they've got this symbol. Now, is it an amulet or is it an item? So that's an interesting question. So most holy symbols that people have in D&D games are amulets. So let's say, is it an amulet? It's likely, so +3. Yeah, it is absolutely an amulet. This is an amulet. Okay, amulet. Okay. Okay, so they've got this amulet. It's not strung or anything yet. It's literally just an amulet, and it's obviously supposed to be an amulet. And they've pretty much got everything from here, so they're going to leave. So they're going to leave the farm. Now, when they leave the farm, they were going to head to other farms. So let's go back to the main map. And I'm sorry that I'm out of practice here, but you know, now they were going to investigate these other farms, which were going to be further north. So let's say that they're going to head north. Um, how far away? Now, I was going to use the D12 system, the 6D12 method, to see what is next. So they're going to enter, let's say, this hex here that they're now at the base of. So we're going to call this standard wilderness. Are there monsters here? That is a good question. Are there monsters here? There are not monsters here. Are there clues here? I've been keeping the dice in the dice tray so that they would make less noise, but the problem with, and not bother the microphone as much, the problem with that is they are in the way for when I'm rolling dice. So what I'm going to do is try and find somewhere I can put the dice that won't be as noisy. So are there clues here? There are clues. So they're moving into the next square. So moving north. So there are clues. I don't know what they are. So it says use Mythic or Clues tables TSAT 1. I don't know what that means, but we'll get back to that. Are there weird environmental features? No. Is there an NPC? Yes. Is this where the farm is? Like, I don't think they were too spaced out. Yes, this is. So the farm is here. So the next farm is here. So that could interesting. But before they get to the farm, is there going to be anything that is treasure? No. And is there going to be a random event? There is going to be a random event, but it doesn't say what that random event is going to be. So clues, NPC, and random event. Okay. So do I want to put the NPC and the random event and clues at the farm? Probably. I also should say what is type of map is this, because they had entered farmland, so they're basically on what are they on? They're on farmland. So this is page 70 to 74. So I want to jump to page 70, 74. And I highly recommend people get these books. So anyway, no, that's not correct. Why did it say 70, 74? Have I looked at this wrong? Now I've got to go back to where I was, and that's tricky. Sorry, I'm out of practice, everyone. I will get there. So maybe I was looking at the wrong book. Oh, that's the GM Miscellany Wilderness Dressing. That's not what I wanted to do. I thought there was a thing to say what the next type of land was going to be. Like, is this still... I'm going to say this is still farmland. So this is still farmland. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand draw this with transparent border, and I'm going to give it a very pale green fill, and I'm going to... That's terrible. Surely I can come up with something better than that. Is that better? Not really. The colors here are just really bad. So what I'm going to instead do is I am going to delete that, and I am going to freehand draw just a green border around this hex. So this is farmland. Okay, I will be able to detail that out better later. Okay, there is a new farm here, so I'm going to put a black square. Why is it whenever you change, like if you select the color, whenever you change the thing you're drawing, it changes back to this weird orange. So, and these are also very, very wide, but whatever. And I need to come up with a name for this other farm. So what was I doing for names? That's right. I was using the Book of Random Tables. And there are 6 name tables. So I'm going to roll, which name table am I rolling on? I'm going to roll on table 3 or table 6. This is the boring bit, I know, but as I said, people are watching, so great. So name 8 is Opaline. So the name of the next farm. So name of next farm is a mixture of Opaline, and on table 6 again, it is 30. Opaline and Wren. So Opaline and Wren. Uh, uh, yeah, Pauline. So it's the Pauline farm. Pauline. Pauline. Pauline farm. Okay, that'll do. How did I note the previous one? I have no idea. Possibly in... Not at all. Oh, in red. So I'm using red for these. So the next one is the Pauline farm, which is a heading one. So there will be an NPC of some description here. Random event. Now, I can't remember how I generate random events. I'm just going to do a wilderness. Here's where random wilderness generation, but let's do a wilderness encounter and see what they find on the way. Like, they're just going to have something random. It's been a while since I've done this. And, you know, if I start getting repeats, then I'll mess them up. So this is really just a start. Wow. Small dungeon or crypt found. Purpose and history unknown. Okay. So on the way, they find a small dungeon or crypt. So while traveling to the Pauline farm, they encounter a small dungeon or crypt. Now, this could make sense for the mystery thing. Like, is there, like, I did say that there was something necromantic under it, but I kind of wanted to leave that as an open mystery. So maybe they find the start of something that they can explore. Is it the crypt? I think it's likely. No. So is it, they're in farmlands, so is it building based? Yes. So do they find some sort of monument? Undetermined? Yes, it is a monument. So they find some sort of monument, which has an opening in it. Okay, so now, is it going to be a hard to find entrance? Yes. The entrance could be hard to find. So, before I go into anything like this, I'm going to try and figure out what is a monument to. So I'm going to go back to the keywords and I am going to do some keywords. Wasn't expecting this at all, but you know, the whole point of this is to be a bit weird, and I'm definitely feeling a bit weird. So this is the so I'll get back to the Pauline farm. The unexpected monument. Now, is it? We'll do the keywords first because I've rolled the first one. So keywords. This will determine how big it is and everything. What was it? That is obsidian. Well, that's an interesting keyword to start with. So it's a black monument. Family. Now, I said it wasn't a crypt, but maybe it's dedication to something? Hefty? Well, hefty seems a bit weird because it's going to be a big thing. Like, I'm figuring it's like a... Like, could it be canstones or something? Maybe? I don't know. Wow, I'm jumping from the start of the list to the bottom of the list. This is... Mouth. Okay, so is this like covering the mouth of a natural cave or something? So is it like there is like a possibly a large stone or anything that is obviously that may have been placed here that's covering the mouth of a natural like opening in the ground. So maybe like a rock covering an entrance into, because it's farmland, it's not raised ground, but they find something that's got a crack in it and they can possibly tell that there's something below it if they pay attention. So there's this black sort of stone on the ground. So do they, yeah, so let's do that. I'm not going to roll for anything at all. So this is an unexpected monument. Actually, I'm not going to do bold. I'm going to make this heading 2. So R and V find a large flat stone on the ground that is cracked and has a dedication to a um, family on it. Is the dedicate? It is obviously very old. As I said, when something strikes me, I'm just going to go with it. It's obviously very old, um, and the names mean nothing to them. Is the language common? Like, are they human names or are they a different language? Um, uh, they are human names, but they seem unlike normal ones, possibly because of their age. Probably maybe from the time before the dwarves or anything. Who knows? Anyway, so I did say it was going to be hard for to detect. Detect, this is the entrance to something. To entrance to. Wow, I am not typing well. Entrance to something. I'm going to say it's DC 15, which I think was. Let me go back and check my DCs. I've got to find that table. DC 15 is moderately hard. So let's say this. So they're going to make perception checks, and I'm going to let each of them make one independently. So we've got Romina and Vint. Romina, as always, is the black die. Vint is the orange. Romina criticals. So Romina notices that there is something weird about this. So Romina rolls a 20 and notices that there is some form of opening below the stone. So the question is, can they move it? So do they decide to move it? I think they do. I think they do. If you find something like this, you want to investigate. You're an adventurer. They're supposed to be investigating the farms. Yeah, you're an adventurer. This is a D&D game. So curiosity, because if you're not curious, you're never an adventure. Osity means they try to explore. Okay. Curiosity, I happily use this, and what we want to do is I'm going to try the dungeon generation, which is on page 40. This is the first time I've used this. This could be slow. So dungeon size is going to be tiny. So it's 1d4 plus 2 rooms. So dungeon. So random generation. So it's 1d4 plus 2 rooms. This doesn't need to be bold. And let's roll that. So this is only 3 rooms. So it's a 3-room dungeon. Dungeon type. Ooh, I can roll to see what type it is. So it is. I don't know that abandoned stronghold works, so I'm going to re-roll. Temple or shrine? Yep. Temple or shrine. I don't think it matters which, but I'll go with that. What's the next thing? Starting area. Now, it's going to be a passage, a room, a door, stairs, or an open entrance. Now, it's not an open entrance, but I do want to know what's beyond the stairs. So I'm going to roll this. Wrong die. It is a passage. So there's going to be a passage going down. So it starts with a passage going down. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a new map. And I'm going to put Romina and Vint on it. So let's grab... Now, did they rest after that? They did not. They would have. So before they set out, they were going to take a short rest. So the way a short rest works, and I did forget to do this, so I'm going to do this before they set out, is it's only a small thing, but let's paste them in. So the way a short rest works, so moving north, they take a short rest before heading out. So with a short rest, they get to spend hit dice. And I haven't actually put on the character sheets them spending hit dice. So Romina's current hit points is back here, because I did note it, was 3, and Vint is 10. So Vint's on 4 hit points, Romina's on 3. So if I go back here, Romina's on 3 hit points, Vint is at full. Okay, so when they rest, there's a couple of things they get. So I'm going to pull up the Players Handbook here and have a look, because I'm out of practice and I'm sorry, but this is how you learn playing D&D, is when stuff happens, you look it up. So for a druid, there's basically nothing I think I get back at first level. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, so that happens. So at first level, yeah, there's nothing they get back. But what you can do is you can spend hit dice. And I haven't put hit dice on this. So what I should do for now is just over here, I put hit dice and they have 1. And over here, I'm going to do the same. Oops, I'm not going to do it with that. I'm going to do hit dice. And what you can do is you can spend your hit dice to try and get hit points back. And I may have this wrong because I haven't done it in a while, but what Romina's going to do is when she takes a short rest, she's going to spend one of her hit dice, and I believe that you get hit points back equal to what you roll plus your con bonus. I've mostly been doing D&D where it's just been too long. Hit dice 12. This isn't supposed to teach you the rules. This is just me. Nope, it's not telling me how to spend hit dice. Okay, short rest. Let's look up short or rest. 186. One of the biggest problems with these books is learning where everything is, and that's always been a big issue. Spend 1 or more hit dice at the end of a short rest. For each hit dice spend this way. Yep, you add your con modifier. So Romina's going to spend one of her hit dice. She is going to roll a d10 and get all of her hit points back. So she has now got 0 hit dice left, and she is now back at 13 hit points. But she doesn't have any of her hit dice. I will come up with a drop-down menu or something for this. And I believe she gets half back when they take a long rest. But they haven't taken a long rest yet. But they're at full hit points, but she spent her hit dice. Okay, anyway. So they take a short rest before heading out. I don't think there's anything else for them to get back on a short rest. Do I want to call the end of that? Do I want to get... I'm going to give her inspiration back, because why not? But Vint does not get any spells back. Okay, we're good. Okay, so 3 rooms. It's a temple or shrine, possibly to. Uh, it's not to the same god as the symbol. That is definitely not the case. I'm very unhappy with what I've come up with for this. I'll have to come up with something different, but I'll maybe do that not on camera when I can come up with something a bit better. Maybe I'll come up with a list of possible things. So it's a 3 room temple or shrine, and it starts with a passage going down. So what I can do is I can go into this new map and I can change Romina back to 13 hit points. So there is this opening in the ground. So let's start with, I go to the map layer and I'm going to draw a circle, which is, how big is it? Like, is it? I think it's probably only 5 feet. So I'm going to say it's likely only 5 feet. It's only 5 feet. So there's this opening in the ground, which I should have called a different color. Can I just change the color of it? Let's call it brown. Yes, I can. So there is an opening in the ground that leads to a passage, and it goes straight down. Or maybe not straight down, but on a very, very steep angle. I'm going to definitely call it that. So, but it actually goes down into the earth on a steep angle. So it's going to require a climb check. I am absolutely making this up as I go along, but I'm going to have it that it goes down as it does this. Okay. So, 3 rooms, temple or shrine. There is a passage that goes down into the earth. Okay, do they want to climb down? They absolutely want to climb down, but I want to have an idea, and this is the thing where it's like, what do you find at the end? So there is a passage table, so I'm going to roll on it, and oh dear, roll on random architecture table? What's the random architecture table? Where's random architecture table? That's not helping me. This is not helping me. I'm going to re-roll that because I rolled a 20, which says roll on this other table, and it just doesn't fit. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to roll. So this is, the passage widens. So the passage actually gets wider as it goes down. Okay, that makes sense. So after a little bit, as it goes down, the passage actually widens out. But I need to know what it's doing and how long it goes for. So it continues for about 40 feet, and these squares are 5. So I'm going to say that the passage sort of does this, is 10, 20, 30. So it sort of goes down into the earth, and I'm going to call it a natural cave, and it widens out to be about 10, 15 feet wide. So that's the entrance. And then I suppose I roll again. And then it goes for another 15 feet and it ends in a door. So I'm going to change this to black. No, I want to be on the map and background table again, but I want to draw a shape and it ends in a door. So we can do that first. So we go back to the objects and tokens, and Romina and Vint have to climb down, probably to about here. So how dangerous is it to climb? Is it really dangerous to climb down? Not really, but it's going to be tricky. So there's a passage that goes down into the earth. Then after a while flattens and widens out before ending in a door. So DC to climb down without falling. It's not that hard. We'll call it DC 10. Now, I can't remember what climbing is. I really can't. I'm out of practice, and part of this was for me to get back into the practice of playing D&D. So, look stuff up, learn it. We're learning together. Climb. Climbing. See under movement. Great. I can't remember which edition. One of these editions had phenomenal. 182 and 190 had phenomenal indexes. But this is not one of them. 182 and 190. Climbing. Athletics is what you can roll. So each they're moving slowly. They're not in combat, so it's like each feet of movement costs you an extra thing. So if they were doing it in combat, their 30-meter movement means they could climb 15. DC 10, and it's acrobatic athletics. So they're each making an athletics check. You can always make a check even if you're untrained. So it's strength. So Vint is making it at -1. Romina is making it at +5. So Romina will go first, and she absolutely makes it down. So Romina climbs down safely. So Romina climbs down safely. Vint, however, I'll use the same die because it's their he criticals. So they both climb down safely. So they both climb down safely. You may hate my level of caps. Normally, if I'm writing, I am very, very precious with how I capitalize and punctuate and stuff. These are just notes. I don't care. Okay, so they climb down safely and they get into the corridor. Oops, I'm on the wrong tool. I think there's still a thing here, but I just want to select the tokens and move them down, and then I'll select that and delete it. So they both move down into the tunnel. And while it's not fully wide here, I'm not too worried about how they are moving. So they get down here. Vint again puts the light on the end of his staff. One thing I want to do is one of the things I hate the most in D&D is the whole concept of some situations where it's like, oh, everyone's just blind, or this player is blind and these players can see, and all of that sort of stuff. I loathe that in D&D. The whole light mechanic, where dark vision exists and everything, I think that should be used sparingly. So Vint puts the light on the end of his staff, and as a general rule, I'm just going to let light be natural, or something will cause illumination or anything, unless there's a reason for there not to. Because I mean, in some video games, lighting is a thing and you want that spookiness, but if you were just playing every video game and by default you had to go in, I'd walk into an area and I've got to figure out my light source in every video game, and it's just not fun most of the time. And if you have to do it every single time you change environment, it's just terrible. I don't like it. I don't think it's fun. So I'm not going to worry about light. The same way I'm not going to worry about, hang on, I'm carrying 1,000 coins, therefore this. It's just not fun to me. I just want to get on with the story. So that's another thing that I'm mostly going to ignore. I'm going to turn around and say, Vint puts the flame on the end of his staff and we're good, or something like that. At some point, I'll come up with an in-game mechanism for it to work. I don't know. For now, I'm comfy. So they're exploring. If Vint throws a flame, then there'll be some reason why they can still see, or not, depending on the story. So is there anything in this corridor? I didn't really get anything, but I do need to. There is passage contents, so I am going to roll that. These are percentiles. So D100. 30, it is empty. So there is nothing in this passage. So they move up and they encounter the door. Now I'm using the simple tables here. I'm not going to go into the deep stuff. There are very, very complex tables for being able to generate stuff. And I'm not worrying about any of that. I'm calling this, I don't think there is a special door table here. So a door table, here we go. There is a door table and it's a D100. So 46. Wow, yeah. So so they move up and they're basically exploring, and there is a secret door, but it's not well hidden according to this. So it is a not well hidden secret door that moves through to a hidden chamber. So behind this door, there's going to be a hidden chamber. So this isn't a wall, it's another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the map layer. I'm going to grab, there's a way of drawing text, and I'm going to put an S on this. I think I can make that bigger. So I don't, Arial is fine, but I'm going to make it like 72, and I'm going to put an S there. And I can move that. So that's, wow, badly I can move that. So that's a secret door, and it moves through to a hidden chamber. How, is there a chamber thing? As I said, I'm trying to do this randomly. I have no idea how this works. Let's call it, is it random rooms? This is hard to move around. I wish there was... Wow, there's really hard to move around this. So, okay, so it's a D20 for the random room. So 14. So it's a circular, large room. So it's a 30-foot diameter, large room. So they've come into a room. I think I'm still on the map layer. I am. So I want to be able to freehand draw. I'm going to go back to the brown, and I'm going to draw something like that. Now, it's not hard to find. So ending in a easy to find secret door. So why is it easy to find? Like, is it being damaged or something? Yes. So they get to the end and can feel and can they see it, I suppose. So get to the end, DC 5 to DC 5 to spot, which I think means they can't fail, because I'm doing everything with rolls. +3 +3 for Vint as well. Perception. It doesn't have perception, so +3. So they're both +3. So they'd have to roll ones. DC 5 to spot. So let's roll and see if they both roll ones. Neither of them roll ones. So they can both see the damaged section of wall that contains the secret door. Can they see how to open it? Vint sees something. Vint thinks he sees how to open it. Oh, no, he does. Vint sees how to open it and can do so. He definitely rolled well enough. So that opens up into this large room. Now, I'm not saying that they've got enough light to be able to see the whole room. In fact, they probably do. I'm using the light source, which sort of lights up for 20 feet. So when they walk in, they can see a large chunk of the room. Now, is there anything in the room contents? So this is a D100. I'm doing this random. I had no idea there was going to be something here. Oh, 1. Level appropriate deadly encounter. So this room, the secret door opens into a 30-foot diameter chamber, containing a level appropriate deadly encounter. That means it'll be quite so this will be it says see chapter 16, which I will delete some point soon. Loot 45%, clue 75%. It says roll DMG loot table appropriate to encounter. So now I need to figure out what is appropriate. So I want chapter 16, which is page 115. Okay, so deadly encounter for 2 PCs is a level 2 deadly encounter for 1 PC. So what I'm wanting to generate here is 3 CR 1/8 monsters. So 3 times CR 1/8 monsters. So this is kind of an Underdark encounter. So do I have a way of generating this here? I think I do. Not coastal, not desert. Dungeon Underdark. So CR 1/8. So it needs to be something appropriate. Kind of needs to, I think I want it to be undead again. So what I want is tables of monsters by type. Is that in here? Not really that I can see. No, it's not. So where do I find, I know what I can do. I've got my online tool. So what I want is bestiary. Is this undead again? I think it is. They're going to be facing, yes, it absolutely is. So let's go back to the bestiary here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for CR 1/8. So I want CR. I did say CR 1/8, didn't I? Yes, I did. So CR 1/8, and I want undead. There's really none. Okay. So let's remove the undead filter. Or let's go. There is not a lot of undead. So what I might put in here, if I want a deadly encounter, so these were, I think this was back up here. I know this is boring. I'm sorry. So I want 2 CR 1/4 mob. So I'm going to do 2 zombies. So I'm literally going to do 2 CR 1/4, and I'm actually going to do 2 zombies. So it's like 2 zombies. So I'm going to put 2 zombies in here. So chamber 1. I need some zombies. I don't think I've got zombies, so I'm just going to use some guards. So 2 guards. Here we go, 2 guards. So we go to this map and we're going to put in a guard, and I'm going to rename this to be zombie. And I'm going to rename this. No, this I'm going to rename to be zombie. There you go, 2 zombies. And again, you can't reach. I have no idea why they made it that you can't ever change the facing, the rotation of it. I don't know, like how, I don't know how I did it that time. I want to be able to select the token without that popping up. Yeah, sometimes it goes away, sometimes it doesn't. I don't understand. Oh well. Anyway, so there are 2 zombies. So what I want are zombie. Here we go. So I'm just going to use their same thing, and the zombies are absolutely going to attack. Are they close or are they far away? So I'm just going to roll a d6 to basically see how far away they are. They're actually at the back of the room. Now, there are other exits to this room, but do I want to figure that out first? Yes, I do. There are 1d4 exits. There are 3 total exits, and I'm just going to use compass points. So I'm going to roll d8. So there is 1 down here. Is it a door? Yes, no. No, so it's actually a chamber. So I'm literally just going to keep drawing. There is an exit down here, and I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to squiggle this out. advanced map drawing for the win. And there is another one up the top. Is it a door? It is, that is undetermined. It is not a door. And there is another one up here. So there are basically passages leaving the area like that. Okay, cool. But there are 2 zombies in this room. Unexpected zombies. Everyone's favorite. Initiative. So 2 unexpected zombies. So encounter 2 zombies, and I think I was doing those as this. So zombies have a number of hit points. Am I still on the map layer? No, I'm on objects and tokens. Great. Zombies have a number of hit points. They have a lot of hit points. This is going to be rough. This is going to be very rough. And they just attack. Like, they are mindlessly attacking. What has brought them here or anything, do not know, but there will be clues in this room. Do not know what they are. They have some combat to deal with first. So, initiative. So, the initiative first. Let's roll for Romina and Vint first. Need to determine what the initiative is. And Romina has +2, Vint has +2. So I can do this. Romina is on 7, Vint is on 15. So initiative. I can't spell for anything. So Romina, let's do Vint is on 15. Was it +2? I can't remember. My brain is off. Yes. And Romina is on 7. Now, zombies have an initiative of -2. Well, that's useful. They still roll really, really well. Like, so well. Zombies, 18. They roll disturbingly well. So Romina is like, oh my God, what's that? Even having fought skeletons before, she's not used to seeing things with, like, desiccated flesh on them going. So, ew. So I need to check up what these have. Okay. Nothing really special here, as far as I can tell. They basically just going to walk forward and they're just going to, like, hit things with their claws. So, or their fists. So, but this is a deadly encounter. So, zombies attack first. So, zombies have some movement. I believe they're slow. Yeah, they're not. They don't move quickly, but they can absolutely move up. So the first one is going to move up. I'm just going to make them attack. They are going to mindlessly attack until destroyed. So it's going to attack Romina. The second one is also going to attack Romina. So this one is basically going to move up, and then it's going to make a slam attack on Romina. Romina, this could be bad. Not that good to hit. It does hit Romina though, for 4 points of damage. So Romina goes down to 9. And this other one also moves up to attack Romina. It rolls very, very badly, however. So it does not hit Romina. So that's what they are. And they're literally face to face with these people. And it's like, great. Next is Vint. Now, Vint is going to... Vint is going to, he's not going to use a spell yet, although he's probably going to save it. He's not going to produce flame. I think he's just going to shillelagh and hit the thing. So he's going to use the cantrip to turn his staff into a shillelagh, and then he's going to hit at the zombie directly in front of him. So it's a +5 to hit with a D8 damage. So D8 plus what damage was it? +5, D8 +3. So he's going to try and hit at this thing and hopefully hit. He does okay on an attack. Oh, they've got no armor at all. These things are terrible. This is like, their armor is negative. So these guys are disturbingly easy to hit. And he hits it for 7 points of damage. So this thing takes 7 points of damage. So it's down to 15 hit points. Okay. Now, but that's all he does. So first of all, the shillelagh, then that. Now, is he going to move apart? Like, is he going to move to here to try and draw the zombie out? Now, there's this thing of if you move away from a creature, then you provoke opportunity attacks. But no, I don't think he wants to move away from Romina because there's the possibility of attacks of not being able to heal Romina. So now Romina is going to pull off her thing. Now Romina is a skilled battle person, and she knows that you want to try and drop something, but she wants to hit the thing directly in front of her because she's got cleaner attacks on it. So Romina is going to make 2 attacks, one with her main hand, one with her off. She spent all of her specialization abilities to do this, and she's going to try and attack the zombie directly in front of her. So Romina's attacks, and I will get to know these better, literally 2 with her sword, +5 for a d6 +3. So she needs a d6. So +5 for a d6 +3. I'm going to use the correct dice for her because D&D players get picky that way. The first one hits because of the fact that they're zombies, and hits for 9. So this thing takes 9 damage, dropping it to 13. Then she gets a second attack with her other hand, but she actually misses. Hang on, armor class 8. What's her attack again? It's +5. She actually hits, even with an attack roll of 3. These things are disturbing to hit. But the damage is a d6 +3. She only does 4 points of damage, so minimum damage. So she drops it to 9 hit points. So she's actually, boof. So she's actually been able to hit that quite hard. Now the zombies get extra attacks. These things are just like, boof, and they try and like hammer them. So the first one, are they going to change targets? I think they're mindless. So, but they've each been hit by one of them, so they might just retaliate on the person who hit them. So the first one is 1 to 4 Romina, 5 to 6 Vint. It's going to attack Romina. The second one the same, but for Vint. And it's actually going to attack Romina still. So Romina is the one being hit by these things. So the first one is going to attack Romina. Again, the damage, that's probably going to hit Romina. +3, yeah, that is absolutely going to hit Romina. And Romina is going to take 6 points of damage. So Romina's been hit pretty hard here. And the second one is going to attack Romina as well, and is actually going to hit Romina and cause Romina to drop. This is going to hit Romina for 3 points of damage, and Romina drops to 0 hit points and falls to the ground. So boof, boof, and Romina is like, and falls to the ground in not a pretty way. So next up is Vint, and Vint is going to do the heroic thing of, I am going to cast a, so in round 2, Romina is dropped to 0 hit points and falls to the ground. Now, unlike creatures, characters are not immediately killed when this happens. She is knocked to 0 hit points, falls to the ground. She is out, unconscious, out of the action. But Vint now has the ability to throw some healing at her. So what's going to happen here is Vint is going to use a Cure Wounds spell, and he is going to just reach out and he's going to touch her, and she is going, so instead of attacking the zombies, he's going to try and get her up. So the amount of hit points she gets back is a d8 plus his spellcasting ability modifier, which in his case is +3. So d8 +3 hit points that she gets back. So she gets 7 hit points back. So Romina goes back up to 7 hit points. So she regains consciousness, but she's lying on the ground. Her swords are beside her, so she can quickly grab those. So it now becomes Romina's turn, and this is the way that D&D works quite a lot. So she basically grabs her swords and stands up. She uses half of her movement to stand up, but because she's already next to the zombies, she could attack them from the ground, but that's hard. But she uses most of her movement to stand up, and then she can use her action to get her attacks. Now, she isn't going to get her second attack because retrieving her weapons was the the action she took. So as the zombies were approaching, I was going to let her draw her weapons and get her second attack. That may have been too much. Don't know, but she didn't move. It's all fine and wishy-washy and whatever. I'm playing it pretty loose. But having to retrieve her weapons from the ground, that means she cannot have her second attack this round. I'm absolutely doing that. So she's going to get one attack on the zombie in front of her. So let's do that. She actually hits because the zombies are bad, and I'm trying to remember her bonus damage. I will remember this eventually. Her bonus damage is +3. So she hits the zombie for 5, which is not enough to kill it. And she is not that happy. Now, she doesn't have a bonus action. She doesn't have a move action or anything. So she could have spent her action to try and get some hit points back because she does have her second wind, but she didn't do that. She was wanting to drop the thing first. So she may have made a mistake there because it now comes back to the zombies' turn. Because, yeah, the initiative is Romina, then it goes back to the zombies. So she's got to kind of hope the zombies have a bad turn here. So the zombies are attacking. 4 on the die, they are going to miss. The first one is, actually, I should have determined, they're just going to stick on Romina. And the second one, 8 on the die, is going to miss Romina, I think. With the plus armor class of that. And armor class 11. Romina has armor class 14 with her swords in her hand. So the zombies both miss, which is good. They actually need to roll above 10 to hit her, so that's good. So there's a 50% chance they're going to miss. So it's like thump, thump, miss. So that's all great. So we now go back to Vint. Now, Vint is out of spells, so there's nothing he can do to heal Romina. So he is completely out of being able to cast any of these. But he does have his Produce Flame and his Shillelagh unlimited cantrips you can cast over and over. So he's basically still got his Shillelagh. He's going to try and hit one of them. Now, is he aware of the fact that one of them is more injured than the other? Possibly. I think he's going to actually, he's clever enough. I'm actually going to make a roll for this. Is he aware? Like, he's not that familiar with undead, but he is aware that this one has been hit a lot more by Romina, so he's actually going to try and drop the one that has mostly wounded. He rolls a 16 on the die, so he absolutely hits it, and he hits it for 11 points. So he actually takes this one out. So this zombie falls to the ground. So, and basically slumps to the ground. So he basically hits it with his shillelagh and sort of able to twist it and sort of knock it to the ground and sort of penetrate it with his staff. Now, this is a zombie, so it has a special fortitude. When it's reached 0 hit points, it must make a Constitution saving throw of 5 plus the damage taken, which was 8. So it's got to make a Constitution saving throw of damage 8, or it will only be reduced to 1 hit point. It makes that saving throw. So it's actually not down. It's actually reduced to 1 hit point. That's really unfortunate. And it can probably keep doing this from what I can tell. So you need to hit this thing hard and it can keep trying. Oh, that's terrible. So these things are going to be hard to take down. And Vint is like, I got that. So it was like, and then it sort of lumbers back up. So Romina is now going to try and drop it. Oh dear, this is terrible. So she's going to make, so with her bonus action, because I think it's a bonus action for her to do a second wind. I'm going to look up second wind in the book. Fighter, 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 fighter classes. Fighter, that's druid, fighter, second wind. Bonus action 1d10 plus your fighter level. So she'll get a d10 plus 1 hit points back. So she is going to get 4 hit points back. That's not a lot. So she uses her second wind and gets back 4 hit points, which will take her to 11, which is better than nothing. And she is now going to get her attacks. So the first one on this zombie absolutely hits. It's not a critical, unfortunate. It's enough to drop it to 0 hit points. Any attack will, because it's on 1 hit point. It did. Her attack is It did 5 points of damage, so it needs to make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw, which it fails. So now it is down. So this zombie is now out of the fight, and she will use her. She used her bonus action, so she doesn't get a second attack. She took her second wind. I've got to keep track of that. If I get that wrong, it's fine. Now, that was Romina's action. Vint has done his, I think. Did I do those out of order? I'm going to say I didn't. I think, Vint hit with his shillelagh and tried to kill it and failed. So now the zombie is left. Now, the zombie is likely to attack Romina, but could change. It changes. It attacks Vint because Vint is the one who's been doing weird stuff and is closest to it. So it is going to attack Vint. It is going to miss Vint, I believe. Yeah, armor class 8. Vint has a base armor class of higher than that. So Vint is fine. Boof, no problem. Vint then turns and uses his shillelagh. Got to keep the dice right on the zombie, and only hits because zombies have terrible armor class. And Vint is going to hit it for 10 points of damage. That's a disturbing amount, but not enough to drop it. We now go to Romina, who has no stamina or reserves left, and is going to attempt to hit it twice because she can. So the first attack is almost a critical, so close, but hits it for, and I will at some point remember what she does. She is going to hit it for Romina attack +3. So that's 7 points of damage. So 7 points of damage is enough to drop it. So it would drop it to 0, but it has to make a DC 7 Constitution save, which it makes. So it goes back to 1 hit point. So it's like, and Romina is going to try and attack it again with her offhand attack, missing. So the zombie is still up. So it is going to attack. It is likely to attack Vint, which it does. And the zombie is going to make its attack on Vint, which is a complete miss. So then Vint attacks. I'll try and do these things quickly if I can. Vint attacks, missing. And his shillelagh might have to be refreshed some point soon. And then Romina is going to get her 2 attacks. The first one is a hit and hits for a large amount of damage. I think her damage again was +3. It is. So she hits it for 9 points of damage. So she drops it to 0. It needs to make a DC 9 Constitution check, which it makes, bringing it back up to 1. I can't kill this thing. She makes an offhand attack against it. Now, any critical or radiant damage attack would be immediately kill it, but they've got no way of doing radiant, and criticals are hard to do. So she hits it again for 4 points of damage, dropping it to 0. DC 4 check. It could roll a 1. It doesn't, so it goes back up to 1 hit point. This thing could go on for a while. That's Romina, so the zombie now gets to make an attack. Is it going to attack Vint? Yes, it is. It attacks Vint. This could go on for a very long time. It's probably not going to, though. It misses Vint, so Vint now gets to make an attack, because it's got to make a whole bunch of saves here, unless Vint does it. So Vint is making quite a large attack. Vint misses. Romina is going to attack it. Well, how do we kill this thing? I don't know. So Romina's first attack hits it for 8 points of damage. So it has to make a DC 8 saving throw, which it absolutely makes. What's going on? I don't know. It's immortal. Romina then hits it again, hitting it for 7. It needs to make a DC 7. No, it's not DC 7. I've been making these rolls wrong, but I have been rolling over. But it needed, because it's 5 plus the damage taken, so it's DC 12, which it does make. But had I made all of those others, I'm going to make 2 more saves at DC 10. First one makes, second one makes, because I've been forgetting the 5 on. You guys will look at the VOD and say, they should have killed it 2 turns ago. I forgot. Too bad. So that was Romina and Vint. The zombie now makes an attack. It's likely to attack Vint. It does. The zombie attacks Vint. It misses Vint completely because Vint has armor and the zombie is terrible at attacking. Vint now makes an attack. His shillelagh is still good. He absolutely hits for 8 points of damage. So the DC on this is 5 plus 8, which is 13. So it needs to make a DC 13 check, which it fails. And the zombie finally drops to 0 and falls to the ground. What was that? I don't know. It was dead. I know it was. So, yes, they do that. Now, I'm going to resolve the loot and everything in this room. Then I'm going to stop, and they are going to take a long rest outside. So I'm going to take a short rest. They're going to take a long one. So, Romina has dropped to 0 hit points and falls to the ground. The zombies keep fighting, even after dropped to 0, which is scary. Vint heals her using his last magic. So, long rest time. So they go. What do they find in the room? So there was loot 45%. So I'm assuming. I'm going to turn around and say there's a 45% chance that somewhere down here there is a really good treasure hoard. So is that the case? No. So I'm just going to use 45% on the loot table. So let's go to the loot table. So loot tables 152. And there, I wish this was indexing so I could literally just jump to the page. But I am going to do, these were CR quarter. So I'm going to say there is some coin here. There are some gold pieces. And I'm going to roll, there's 10 gold pieces here. So 10 GP. 10 GP. So I'm going to add the 10 GP to their party loot. This is the first gold they've got. Okay. So 10 GP. The platinum pieces is worth a lot more. And there was a clue in here as well, possibly. So 75% chance of a clue. So let's see what that is. There is a clue in here. Now, there is a clue table, I think. Clue table. Loot tables. 152. I thought there was a clue table. Where was that? Oh, that could have been in the dungeon generation section. Random dungeon generator. So it would have been somewhere in 40. Yeah, it would have been around there. So somewhere between 40 and 57. Clue table. So this is a D100. Let's see. So this may not be that useful. A book of hand-sketched images of various humanoids. Some of them with large red crosses through them. So I wonder if that's relevant. So they find so 10GP, a book with drawings of people, some of which are marked as if for death, uh, marked with red crosses. The book is very old and they don't understand it themselves, but someone else might. So, clue might be worth remembering. So, added to party loot. So, they've found that. I'm going to roll that there is a 1 in 20 chance. So, if I roll a 20, they find something special in here. They did not. Okay, cool. Because I always like to find something special after a really hard fight. They're going to go back outside, close the door, and have a long rest out here. So they're going to use some of their supplies and everything and rest for 8 hours. So they go back into the corridor and have a long rest. So let me look up long rest because I'll be honest with you, in our main D&D game, we don't take rests very often because it's like do stuff, do stuff, do stuff, do stuff, end of adventure. It's really weird. There's something about 5e where resting just doesn't make sense for the stories in the pre-published adventures, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. 186, I think, is where that is. What is 6? Resting. Long rest. A long rest period of extended date, at least 8 hours. So they basically spend overnight. They rest for at least 6 hours and performs no more than 2 hours of light activity. So they're going to stay for like 12 hours, and one of them will stay on watch and everything. So one of them will sleep for 6 hours while one is on watch. They'll balance it out. So they're going to spend like 12 hours, and if they interrupted or anything, there's a chance they're interrupted, but I think it's very, very slim down here. They regain all their, so at the end of the rest. So there is a very slim chance they're interrupted. I'm going to call it like a D20 -8 on the roll. So I literally have to roll a 19 or a 20. They are not interrupted. So I don't even need to note they're not interrupted. So at the end of a long rest, they regain all of their lost hit points. So they are going to go back to full. So Romina is back to 13. Vint is still on 10 anyway. And on the character sheets, I can make sure that they are at full. They are. I'm just going to note everything. What else happens? Up to the number of hit dice equal to half their character's level with a minimum of 1. So Romina gets her hit dice back. Now there's something about druids getting their spells back at a long rest as well. I'm pretty certain they just get all of their spell slots back. Spell casting. You would think it would say. You regain expended spell slots when you finished a long rest. So Vint gets those back, and Romina gets her second wind back. So everything comes back. So they are basically back to full strength at the end of the long rest. And I am going to finish the session there. I'm going to select all of the map. I'm going to remove the zombies. They're gone. I'm going to go into the map level. I'm going to select all of it if I can. Actually, I've drawn some of this. So I'm going to go back to the objects and tokens. I'm going to select those and move those to the map layer. I'm then going to go to the map layer. I'm going to move all of it over. Is that the edge of the map? It is. I'm then going to go to the object layer and I'm going to move them outside. I'm going to generate what those end in. I think they're just going to end in small rooms, but I'm going to make sure, because I don't want this to be huge. It's supposed to be small. So I'm just going to say they end in caverns. I don't know what's in them though. So let's go back to the brown, and I'm going to say these end in a small cave. One is small, and how big is the other one? Let's scroll. Yeah, the other one is actually quite large, and I'm just going to turn around and say it is like that. There you go. That is the way it is. For some strange reason, this S has been... Let's go back to the map and background, select the S and move it back on the door. And these are open and everything like that. I'm going to finish the session there. I think this has been a lot of fun. We have no idea what's in these rooms. Did I draw that in the map layer? I did. So let's figure out what happens next. Romina and Vint have just had their have had a long rest. They're in this underground thing. They're not going to be disturbed because nothing is above. They haven't found the farm. And we'll go from there. So there's 2 more rooms to explore. I have no idea what's in them. Could be nothing. Thanks everyone for watching, and as always, good luck with your adventuring.